Thank you.
Thank you very much for giving me the time to present the second paper, which regards digital transformation, creativity, and innovation during the COVID period, and to see the employee perspective. As we know, because of the COVID situation, business have been challenged a lot regarding issues of management issues, how to deal with all these emergency and stressful situations, putting themselves into a, I would say, challenging situation to innovate and to create in order to meet all these challenges. Some of these changes which have taken place really work. Some other changes are not really well welcomed by people. There are different approaches, different perspectives, and this research briefly explores through an empirical study which are the effectiveness of management policies, the issues of creativity, innovation, digital transformation during the COVID period of time. The pandemic and the different approaches taken by national governments to enact this lockdown has accelerated the volatility, the uncertainty, the complexity and ambiguity across the social, economic, political and technological environment. And many aspects of business decision making have worryingly shifted during this period, becoming more short-term and purely operational. Some organizations examined their previously carefully constructed business continuity plans and immediately recognized the paucity of their efforts in the face of a genuine and significant global crisis. In this study, we will examine whether the practices used by managers to maintain creativity and innovation met their goal, while anxiety and insecurity overwhelmed all the parts involved, including the employees. And we, in this study also explores the role technology played in promoting original ideas during that period of the pandemic, as well as the barriers that had to be overcome. The main research question of this empirical research study is how efficient were companies in adjusting to the needs the pandemic has risen, and whether employees share the same view. And the objectives is that through this study will be examined whether the practices used by managers to overcome the difficulties and obstacles due to the pandemic really met their goal or not, while anxiety and insecurity overwhelmed all the parts involved. Um, the study also aims to give an understanding about the role of technology and in what level the adjustments of technological adjustments as response to the new challenges took place from the perspective of employees during the period of COVID, and the barriers, as we said before, which had to be addressed and then resolved in order these changes to take place. Um, we present first briefly some literature background before we move on with the empirical study. As Walton has written and has introduced the concept of design thinking, um, Walton presents this design of thinking as a new approach to create a breakthrough innovation which promotes high performance collaboration and includes this design thinking th- as basic elements, I would say. First, the ability to define a problem. Second, the ability to develop the options, the alternatives. Third, the ability to determine the direction. And fourth, the ability to select which is the best alternative, the best solution. And the fifth one, to execute this. While there are a variety of techniques and tools which can be used, the core process is somewhat universal, and it is exactly what I described before. To define the problem, to find, identifying alternatives, to determine the direction, select the best solution, and execute. The majority of companies had to follow during the COVID that procedure of designing a thinking, how to approach the changes, to deal with all the problems which appeared, regarding the to to deal with all the problems regarding the functionality, to start develop alternatives to proceed with, to design a path that would follow in order to meet the goals, to address their needs, to select the best way to succeed, and turn the plan into everyday reality, introducing management policies which would help the company to remain sustainable, competitive, effective, and also to support the employees. Although digital transformation has become a goal for almost all companies to achieve in the last years, most of them had to expedite most of the plans they had in progress and even change their strategy to be able to meet the new demands and the new challenges that rose up, appeared due to the pandemic crisis. Now, in terms of creativity and innovation, to introduce briefly the concepts, the terms creativity and innovation seem to overlap, but we know that it is different one from the other. Being creative does not necessarily mean that you end up to be innovative. People may have brilliant ideas, may have variety of new ideas. However, they are not able to apply this in practice to cause, what we say, to bring innovation. It might remain to be theory. So creativity regards the ideas, innovation regards the implementation of these smart new ideas. So there is a distinction between creativity and innovation, and especially in the era of globalization, digitization, competition, creativity and innovation are key factors for companies to survive, to progress, to be competitive, and of course, very important for the employees as well, since their performance
it seems that it's Professor Fragouli, are you there? There's no sound.